Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be looking at this monster. This is a Yamaha Tmax 500 2009. This is a 500cc scooter, but it handles like a sport bike. This is probably what started the maxi scooter segment. This thing is large, it's heavy, it's about the same weight as a 600cc sport bike, and it handles extremely well. Most people would probably be faster in twisties riding this thing than a sport bike. This is an automatic, very easy to ride. The cool thing about having this is that it instantly has power. No matter what speed you're going, you're always on the power. Very easy to ride. You go into corners, you're just twisting the throttle, and it is brilliant. It's a very easy bike to ride, but it's also extremely comfortable, and it is well balanced. The weight on this bike is very low to the ground, as per most scooters. And when you have something like that, you have the ability to surprise many sport bikes. When you think of scooters, you might think more along the lines of the Yamaha Zuma 125 next to the Tmax. But when you want more speed, you want to be able to comfortably ride on the highway, you can't really use that Zuma. So a lot of people opt for larger scooters. The Tmax is probably one of the largest Yamahas, along with some other bikes like the X-Max. The Tmax, I believe, is a much better handling version of the X-Max, but this one is one of those that is very sought after. I've always wondered about that. One of the things that you'll see right away with a Tmax is that it is very stocky, but with the weight, everything about this, it's like low to the ground. Transmission is here. The head of the motor is like facing the front, very low to the ground. The radiator is very low to the ground. So there is a negative to these maxi scooters, and that's the plastic, dealing with all the plastic. But most of these bikes do not have issues. They just ride perfectly. This one uses three air filters, one here, one there, one on the other side. It tends to be a little bit on the more complex side to maintain it. It also uses the clutch. I replaced the clutch, I replaced the belt, I replaced the fork seals that were leaking. So this bike has been quite a bit of a project, but this is my second Tmax. It also comes in yellow and black, and I used to have that. Much cooler looking than the blue, I think. But this particular bike, there's a segment of people that really love the Tmax, and for good reason. It's the only scooter I've had, maxi scooter, that handles like a sport bike. It really is one of the best handling scooters I've seen. Up front and rear, you have 15-inch tires, brand new tires. You have dual rotors up front to replace the brake pads because they are gummed up from oil, because I had the fork seals leak. Conventional forks, and I did get the fork seals replaced. Everything about it, like, it's riding absolutely fine now, and with the brake pads, it's just going to make less noise and brake better. These are R1 inspired calipers, and they are extremely good. If they were not glazed with oil, this would stop the bike really well. This is where the radiator is, and the radiator is not flat. It's actually curved along the bike, so it kind of goes with the flow of the design of the Tmax. I don't particularly like the front of the Tmax. I think it looks a little bit too much like the Yamaha Majesty. It should be much more aggressive. Even in 2009, I think Yamaha should have done a better job with the front, but this is really the only downside that I can point out to the bike. I have plenty of space to kind of move around, and then you can even lounge back by putting your sandals and flip-flops up in the air. Very comfortable riding, and you do have a large hump here, but it doesn't really affect much. You have plenty of space for your feet. Gas cap is right in here. Very easy to fill up. I do like when the gas tank is low. You are essentially sitting on the gas tank, and that's a brilliant thing because the weight is always kept low. All scooters have this sort of feeling. Everything is low to the ground. This, I believe, is a 4-gallon gas tank. The Tmax does not get great gas mileage. It gets 47 miles to the gallon, maybe 50 if you're being very careful. It's because of the automatic transmission. You can't really vary it up, so that's the reason. But it's a great handler. People that get this, they love it. We have a very large can here. The exhaust is really large. It looks like the previous owner did drop it once here. This little thing is kind of flaking off because of the heat. You have your passenger foot pegs here, and they recess nicely into the plastic, which is appreciated. The tail end is something that I really like about this particular bike. First, let's talk about these grab rails. These are awesome. Yamaha does this on most bikes, including the scooters. Like the Zuma 125, it's got these large grab rails. These make it very useful for just riding around and carrying things. And if you have a passenger, that's a great confidence booster. And look at the upturned tail. It's like pointy, it's like so sporty. This is not normally what a scooter should be styled, but it looks great. From the rear, it looks absolutely amazing. They integrated the turn signals all into one piece. And you have your brake caliper, disc brake in the rear, 15-inch tire, all the transmission is there. It is just, everything about it is like riding like it should. Everything about this is like covered up. I do not like this because if you wanted to mount a phone or something, you couldn't. This is heated grips. You have your brake hydraulic fluid here, front and rear. The plastic is kind of fading because this bike was stored outside for a long time. I think only in my garage has been stored inside. And you have two pockets here that are not lockable, and these go in pretty deep, so you can put like maybe a charging socket or something in there. I don't think I need them to be lockable, but it is nice that this is like it goes with the look of the bike, and this protects you from the wind as well when you're riding. Key is here, ignition. This plastic, you remove one bolt, 2 bolts, 3 bolts, and this is where the air filter is going to be. To open up the seat, you turn the key to the left. I push it down a little bit, and then it's got these struts that unfortunately I need to replace. It's got enough space inside to store a full-size helmet. It's pretty deep for a maxi scooter. Sometimes you don't get that much storage, but this is nice. Seating position on the Tmax, it's very comfortable. The one thing I'm going to say though, that the seat starts to really wear out on you after a while, but very sporty position. When you compare this, say, to a Honda Silverwing, for example, the Silverwing is much more cruiser oriented. This feels like you're riding a sport bike, a comfortable sport bike. It feels like a sporty position compared to like a Honda Silverwing or Bergman. Those seem like you're like lounging back, and it doesn't seem like it would handle well. This feels like you can go into corners at a pretty good rate, and it is very nimble. It's one of the most nimble scooters going at high rates of speed that I have ridden. That includes Silverwing, Kymco, Exciting, all of those. This is better. And I do have the bar end mirrors. It comes with the stock ones, but these little bar end mirrors look, I think, much better. And it is an easy bike to ride. If you're a beginner, hop on this. It's just super easy. Weight is low to the ground, making it very easy to make U-turns, parking lot maneuvers. Anybody could ride this. The one thing that goes bad on these is the fuel pumps. The motors tend to go bad, so you might want to replace those. So if you get one that's not starting, most likely it's the fuel pump. On the left side of the controls, you have turn signals, high beam, and look at this. This is the best handbrake I've ever seen. It's impossible to ride with the handbrake on because your hand will not fit in here. So you're going to do that to release it. Really good. It's really the best. The Kymco Exciting that I had, that was the worst. Of course, rear brake, mirror by Fenrir. On the right side, you have your kill switch, starter, and throttle, and mirror. Very simple setup. And by the way, for this not to stick, fin rear actually has a spacer included in the mirror kit, so I mistakenly fitted it wrong, so now it is absolutely perfect. It's not sticking, and it does have heated grips as well, so you can ride those winter mornings with ease. Now the dash for this bike is quite ugly, but it's been improved with the new ones. This one, it's got 3 gauges. One is the fuel gauge on the right, speedometer in the middle. You have a little digital spot with the tach and trips, and then on the left you have the temperature with 2 buttons. Now the one thing I appreciate is that they do have a trip for the belt change and one for the oil change, along with a trip 1 and trip 2. Start the bike, and here how she runs. Kickstand is up, it's on. Something Yamaha does, they just, you have to turn on the high beams to have the 2 of them. This is a very Euro style that you have. That a lot of Tmax owners do is put a SAE plug for the battery right here, because the battery is located in the middle here and kind of high up. It's really the only place where weight is high up on the bike. But you have to remove this, the windscreen, just to get to the battery. So if you ever like lose power, that's a lot to dig out. Time to take the bike out for a spin and see how she handles. This bike is so fun to ride. Some wet spots. All the snow has melted though. Well, that's the Yamaha Tmax. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.